17-year-old Lisa Holm vanished on a quiet summer evening in June 2015 from a countryside cafe in Blomberg, Sweden. Within hours, what began as concern turned into one of the largest search operations in Swedish history. Hundreds of volunteers, police officers, helicopters, and search dogs flooded the surrounding farmland, forests, and barns. Everyone hoped she would be found alive, but after 5 days, the search ended in horror. Deep inside a nearby farm, investigators discovered a room so disturbing that many officers later required therapy. It became known simply as the milking room. Blomberg was the kind of village where serious crime almost never happened. Rolling farmland, quiet roads, and scattered farmhouses defined the area. Sweden itself ranked among the safest and most livable countries in the world. Nothing like this was supposed to happen here. On June 7, 2015, Lisa was finishing her shift at a cafe near the foot of Kinnekull, a hill overlooking 2 lakes. She had only worked there a few weeks, but she was already known as responsible, kind, and dependable. That evening was the first time her parents trusted her to ride her new moped home alone. At 6:23 p.m., Lisa texted her father to say she was locking up and heading home. The ride normally took about 30 minutes. When she failed to arrive, worry quickly escalated. By 8 p.m., her father drove toward the cafe. When he arrived, his relief vanished. Lisa's moped was still parked outside, keys dangling in the ignition. Her bag was beside it. The cafe was dark and empty. Lisa was gone. At 9:47 p.m., police were called. Volunteers poured in. Roads were closed. Fields, ditches, barns, and forests were searched. Initially, nothing appeared out of place until police dogs detected Lisa's scent inside an abandoned barn across the road from the cafe. On the dirt floor, officers found a single black glove, later confirmed to be hers. By morning, Blomberg had transformed into a crisis zone. Search radiuses expanded from 300 meters to 10 kilometers over the following days. On June 10th, the organization Missing People joined the operation. Then, critical discoveries began to surface. Along a dirt road about 1 kilometer from the cafe, searchers found a pink phone case, pieces of a mobile phone, a torn receipt, and a train ticket with Lisa's name on it. The next day, a neighbor noticed police tape had been removed from the same barn near the cafe. Inside, he spotted Lisa's pearl earrings lying in the dust. Soon after, her ID card and house keys were found near a road leading south. Her belongings formed a scattered trail, chaotic, deliberate. By June 11th, attention turned to Martup Farm, about 1 mile from the cafe. The property housed 3 Lithuanian migrants. When volunteers searched nearby, a man from the farm urgently told them to leave and threatened to call police. His defensive behavior raised alarms. Officers were called immediately. As police arrived, they realized Lisa's belongings pointed directly toward the farm. That evening, searchers found Lisa's jacket hidden in tall grass near a shed, along with her missing moped helmet. The property was sealed. Behind the farm stood a small white shed with trampled grass leading to the door. Inside, officers smelled death. The shed contained 2 small rooms. In a locker, they found Lisa's body, partially undressed, her mouth sealed with grey tape, and a rope knotted around her neck. After nearly a week, the search was over. Suspicion immediately focused on 35-year-old Nereus Blevicius, the same man who had tried to drive volunteers away. He lived on the farm with his wife and brother. When police searched his room, they found violent pornography and disturbing online behavior. DNA evidence sealed his fate. Lisa's clothing contained Nereus's DNA. His DNA was found inside and outside her body, on the rope, and across multiple crime scenes. His blood was discovered on her jacket, indicating she fought back. Neighbors reported seeing his car idling near the cafe that evening. Surveillance cameras captured him later that night. Inside one of the farm's barns, investigators uncovered the milking room, a filthy former dairy storage space. Rope fragments on a pipe matched the rope around Lisa's neck. Semen was found in the room and on Lisa's clothes. Nearby, officers found human feces, later confirmed to be Nereus's, suggesting extreme arousal after the murder. Another barn across from the cafe revealed a room with a direct line of sight to where Lisa worked. Under forensic light, walls showed splatter patterns containing Nereus's DNA, indicating he had watched women from there while masturbating. Nereus denied everything, claiming he was asleep or calling his mother. Phone records disproved his alibi. Evidence placed him with Lisa shortly after 6:23 p.m. Investigators concluded he abducted her, under the pretense of asking for directions, overpowered her, strangled her in the milking room, hid her body, and scattered her belongings. In November 2015, Nereus was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He was later transferred to Lithuania, where his sentence was briefly reduced to 15 years before being reinstated. Ultimately, he was stabbed to death in prison. Lisa Holmes' murder devastated Sweden. Over 900 volunteers searched for her. Her funeral on July 7, 2015, overflowed with mourners. A cherry blossom tree now blooms near the cafe, standing as a reminder of a life taken far too soon and of a village forever changed.
The case of Melissa Marie Rokuba.
Melissa Marie Rokuba was born on July 23, 1969, in Bristol, Pennsylvania, to Joseph White and the late Virginia Twombly. She was raised in Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey, where she later graduated from Middle Township High School. In adulthood, Melissa became a devoted mother and grandmother. Family members described her as a loving, stay-at-home grandmother who spent much of her time caring for her grandchildren. She enjoyed riding quads with her husband, taking trips to the casino, and spending time at the beach. By 2013, Melissa had been married to her husband, Bruno Rokuba, for 24 years. The couple lived together in Simpson, Pennsylvania. That same year, a single night would permanently alter the lives of everyone who knew them. On August 6, 2013, just before 10 p.m., Melissa and Bruno returned home after a night out. Several hours later, at approximately 4:20 a.m., Bruno called 911. During the call, he claimed that he had been handling a firearm when it accidentally discharged. According to Bruno, the bullet first passed through his hand and then struck Melissa in the head. During the 911 call, Bruno gave conflicting explanations of what had happened. At one point, he suggested they were arguing. At another, he stated they had been playing around with the gun. The dispatcher questioned the inconsistencies, but emergency services were dispatched immediately after calling 911. Bruno contacted his daughter, who lived next door. He told her there had been an accident, but insisted that her mother was fine. Alarmed, she rushed to the house. Inside the bedroom, she found Melissa lying on the bed, covered in blood. She grabbed a towel and applied pressure to the wound while waiting for paramedics to arrive. Bruno was elsewhere in the home, speaking on the phone, and did not assist. When asked what had happened, he offered yet another version of events. Melissa was transported to the hospital and placed in critical condition. She remained hospitalized for 3 days. On August 10, 2013, at 1:45 a.m., Melissa Rockuber died from her injuries. Her death devastated her family at the time. Authorities did not formally rule the shooting an accident, but no arrests were made and no charges were filed. The case remained unresolved for nearly 9 years. In early 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police began reviewing cold and unresolved cases. Melissa's death was among them. During the review, investigators uncovered home security footage that had not been fully analyzed during the original investigation. Earlier, investigators had believed the footage contained nothing significant, and at the time, they lacked the technology to properly extract and examine the audio. With updated equipment, both the video and audio were reviewed in full. The footage showed Melissa and Bruno arguing before they entered the house. Once inside, the argument continued. The audio abruptly stopped at the exact moment the gun was fired. This evidence directly contradicted Bruno's claim that the shooting was accidental. Investigators also re-examined forensic evidence and the physical layout of the scene. Based on the findings, authorities concluded that Bruno had been standing over Melissa as she lay on the bed. Investigators believe he used his left hand to restrain her head while holding a .40 caliber pistol in his right hand. As Melissa attempted to move away, Bruno fired a single shot. The bullet passed through his hand before striking Melissa in the head. On June 3, 2022, Bruno Rockuber was arrested and charged in connection with his wife's death. Ultimately, Bruno pleaded guilty to third-degree murder. He was sentenced to 12 to 40 years in prison. With credit for time already served, he is expected to become eligible for parole beginning in 2035. What was once described as a tragic accident was later revealed to be something far more disturbing. For nearly a decade, Melissa Rockuber's death remained unresolved until new evidence finally brought the truth to light.